I met Sarah at a bookstore 5 years ago. She was looking for a specific novel. I worked there part-time while finishing community college. I helped her find it. We talked about books for 20 minutes. She gave me her number. Simple start to what I thought would be a simple, happy relationship. If you like these real stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Back to the story. For the first 3 years, everything was good. Great, even. We moved in together after a year. Split rent on a small apartment. Split bills. Split everything. We were equals, partners. She was finishing her business degree. I was working full-time at a warehouse after dropping out of school. Different paths, but it did not matter. We were happy. We had routines. Friday nights were pizza and movie nights. Sunday mornings we would sleep in and make breakfast together. She would quiz me with her flashcards while I helped her study. I would tell her about the characters at the warehouse, the crazy shipping mistakes, the weird packages we had to deal with. We laughed a lot. We were building something together. Her friends were my friends. My friends were her friends. We went to barbecues and birthday parties, played board games, had people over for dinners. Normal couple stuff. No one cared that she was in business school and I was loading trucks. It did not define us. When she was stressed about exams, I would run her a bath and bring her tea. When I had a bad day at work, she would order my favorite food and we would talk about it. We took care of each other. That was what mattered. Sarah graduated and got an entry-level job at a marketing firm. I was proud of her. She worked hard, stayed late, brought work home on weekends. I supported her, made dinner on her long nights, listened when she vented about difficult clients, celebrated her small wins. I was her biggest cheerleader. Then she got promoted, then promoted again. Within 2 years, she went from entry-level to senior account manager. Good money, real money, the kind that changed things. At first, the changes were small. She started dressing differently, more expensive clothes, designer bags, shoes that cost more than my weekly paycheck. She said it was important for her image at work. I understood. You have to look the part. Our apartment started changing too. She wanted to upgrade things, new furniture, nicer dishes, art for the walls. She said we should live somewhere that reflected where she was going, not where we had been. I helped her pick things out, but I could not shake the feeling that I was decorating someone else's life. She started going to networking events, dinners with clients, happy hours with colleagues. I did not mind at first. It was part of her job, part of building her career. I wanted her to succeed, but the events became more frequent. 2 nights a week, then 3, then 4. I would make dinner and eat alone. She would come home after I was already in bed. In the morning, she would be up before me, getting ready for another day of meetings and calls and lunches with people I never met. But slowly, I started noticing that I was not part of that world. She would come home and tell me about her day, but the details got vaguer. The names of people she mentioned started to blur together. When I asked questions, she would brush them off, say it was boring work stuff, say I would not be interested. The first time I really felt it was at her company holiday party. She had been at the firm for about a year. She mentioned the party casually, said spouses and partners were invited. I assumed I was going. I asked what I should wear. She paused, then said, maybe business casual would be fine. The night of the party, I put on my best khakis and a button-down shirt. It was the nicest thing I owned. When Sarah came out of the bedroom, she was wearing a black dress that probably cost more than my entire outfit. She looked beautiful. She looked at me and something flickered across her face. Disappointment, maybe. She did not say anything. Just grabbed her purse and we left. The party was at a nice restaurant downtown. Private room. Open bar. Everyone there looked like they belonged in a magazine. The men wore suits that fit perfectly. The women wore dresses and heels and jewelry that caught the light. I felt like I was wearing a costume. Sarah introduced me to a few people. Her boss, a couple of colleagues. She would say my name and that we lived together. Nothing more. No mention of how long we had been together. No stories about how we met. Just my name and a quick move to the next conversation. I stood next to her for the first hour, trying to follow conversations about clients and campaigns and corporate strategy. I had nothing to contribute. When I tried to make a joke, it landed flat. When I tried to ask a question, Sarah would answer for me and redirect. Eventually, I just stopped trying. I spent most of the party at the bar. Sarah worked the room. She was good at it, confident, charming, laughing at the right moments, touching people's arms when she talked to them. She looked like she belonged there. I did not. On the drive home, she was quiet. I asked if she had fun. She said yes. I said I felt out of place. She said it was just work people, not to take it personally. I did not know how else to take it. After that, the invitation stopped including me. She would mention dinners or events, and I would wait for her to ask if I wanted to come. She never did. When I brought it up, she said these were work things. Boring. I would not enjoy them. Better if she just went alone. I told myself she was probably right. Who wants to spend their evening with their partner's coworkers? I stayed home, watched TV, waited for her to come back and tell me about her night. But she stopped telling me about her nights. She would come home late, kick off her heels, and say she was exhausted, too tired to talk. She would shower and go to bed. In the morning, she would be up and out before I left for my shift at the warehouse. We started living parallel lives. She had her world, and I had mine. We shared an apartment, but not much else. Our routines disappeared. No more Friday pizza nights. No more lazy Sunday mornings. She was always working or networking or too tired to do anything. When I suggested we do something together, go somewhere, anything, she would say, maybe next weekend. Next weekend never came. Sex became infrequent, then rare, then almost non-existent. When it did happen, it felt mechanical, like she was going through the motions, like I was another item on her to-do list. Check the box and move on. I tried talking to her about it, about us, about how disconnected I felt. She would say she knew. She would say she was sorry. She would say work was just really demanding right now, that things would get better, that I just needed to be patient. So I was patient, for months, waiting for things to get better, waiting for her to have time for us, waiting to feel like I mattered to her again. The criticism started slowly. Small comments that felt like jokes at first. She would see me in my warehouse uniform and say something about how I should think about finding something better. Something with a future. I would laugh it off. Say the warehouse paid okay. She would smile, but her eyes did not. She started commenting on what I wore. Even on weekends, she would suggest I buy nicer clothes. I would say I did not need nice clothes to sit on the couch. She would say, I never knew when we might run into her colleagues. Better to be prepared. We ran into her boss once at a grocery store. I was wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Sarah introduced me quickly and moved us away before any real conversation could happen. In the car, she said maybe I should dress better when we go out. Even for groceries, just in case. I started feeling like a liability, like something she had to manage. Her friends changed too. The people we used to hang out with, couples from her college days, guys I played basketball with, they faded away. Sarah started spending time with people from work, people with titles and salaries and vacation homes, people who intimidated me. She stopped inviting me to things with her new friends. At first, she would say I was welcome to come, but I could tell she did not really want me there. So I stopped asking. Eventually, she stopped mentioning the plans at all. She would just say she was going out. I would say, okay. That was the extent of our communication. I ran into one of her old college friends once, Amanda. She asked how Sarah was doing. I said good, busy with work. Amanda said yeah, she had heard. Said Sarah did not return calls anymore. Said it seemed like she had moved on to bigger and better things. There was an edge to her voice. I understood it. I wanted to defend Sarah, say she was just focused on her career. But I could not, because Amanda was right. Sarah had moved on. From her old friends, from her old life, from me. She would come home and tell me about dinners at expensive restaurants, weekend trips to wine country, concerts and shows and events I had never heard of. When I asked why I was not invited, she would say it was last minute, or that I would not like that kind of thing, or that it was mostly work people anyway. The translation was clear. I did not fit. One night, about 4 years into our relationship, we were having dinner at home. Rare occasion. She was on her phone most of the meal. I asked her to put it down. She sighed and did. I asked if everything was okay with us. She looked surprised. Said, "Of course." Why would I ask that? I said I felt like we were drifting apart, that she was building this whole life I was not part of. She said that was not true. She said she was just busy with work, that this was an important time in her career, that I should understand. I said I did understand, but I missed her, missed us. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. She said she missed us too. She said things would slow down soon. We would spend more time together. I believed her. Things did not slow down. They sped up. Sarah got promoted again. Director level now. Big raise. Company car. Expense account. She was climbing fast and I was happy for her. Proud, even. But the distance between us grew wider. She started traveling for work. Client meetings in other cities, conferences, team retreats. She would be gone for days at a time. When she came back, she would be exhausted. We would barely talk. She would catch up on sleep and emails, and then she would be gone again. I tried to be supportive. I knew this was what she wanted, what she had worked for. I did not want to be the boyfriend who held her back. So I kept my feelings to myself and tried to be happy with whatever time she could spare. Then came the night that changed everything. Sarah came home from work on a Friday evening. She looked stressed. I asked what was wrong. She said her company was having a big event next weekend. A gala, black tie. All the executives would be there, important clients. It was a huge deal. I waited for her to mention me coming. She did not. I asked if partners were invited. She said yes. Then she was quiet. I asked if she wanted me to come. She looked uncomfortable. She said the thing was, it was a really important night for her. A lot of important people would be there. People she needed to impress. People who could impact her career. I asked what that had to do with me. She took a breath. She said she thought it might be better if she went alone this time. Just to focus on work. To network without distractions. I was the distraction. I asked her to say it clearly. Was she asking me not to come? She said yes. She said it was just this one event. It was not personal. It was strategic. I asked how long she had been ashamed of me. She looked shocked. Said she was not ashamed. I said it felt like she was. She said that was not fair. She said I was being insecure. She said she loved me, but this was about her career, not about me. I told her it was about me when she was asking me to disappear for an evening so her colleagues would not know I existed. She got defensive. Said I was making this bigger than it was. Said I did not understand the pressure she was under, the expectations, the competition. She said she was trying to build something and I was making it about my feelings. I said my feelings were valid, that if she was embarrassed to be seen with me, that was a problem. She said she was not embarrassed. She just wanted one night to focus on work without worrying about anything else. Without worrying about me. The guy who wore khakis to a cocktail party. The guy who worked at a warehouse. The guy who did not fit into her new world. She asked me to just trust her, to give her this one thing. She said, after the gala, things would be different. We would spend more time together. We would reconnect. She just needed to get through this event first. I said, okay. She looked relieved. She kissed me on the forehead and went to her laptop to prepare. I sat on the couch for a long time that night, thinking about the last 5 years, thinking about how we used to be, how somewhere along the way I became something she had to hide. The gala was on a Saturday night. That morning, Sarah spent hours getting ready. Hair appointment, nails, makeup. She looked incredible when she came out of the bedroom in her gown, like someone from a different world. She asked how she looked. I said beautiful. She smiled. A real smile. For a moment, she looked like the girl I met at the bookstore. Then her phone buzzed. A car service to pick her up. The moment passed. She grabbed her clutch and headed for the door. She turned back and said she would be late, not to wait up. I said, okay. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Then she just left. I sat in the empty apartment and made a decision. I started packing, not everything, just the important things. Clothes, laptop, a few books, things that mattered. I packed 2 suitcases and 2 boxes. I loaded them into my car. I came back up to the apartment and looked around. 5 years of my life in this space. Photos on the walls. Furniture we picked out together. Inside jokes and shared memories. All of it felt like it belonged to different people. People who did not exist anymore. I took out my phone and typed a message to Sarah. I told her she was right. She did need someone to disappear. But not just for one evening. She needed me to disappear completely, so that is what I was doing. I told her I was not angry. I understood. She built something incredible, and I was proud of her. But I did not fit into that world. I never would. And I was tired of feeling like I was something to be ashamed of. I told her she deserved someone who could stand next to her at those galas and belong there. Someone who could talk about clients and campaigns and corporate strategy. Someone who made her proud instead of making her worry. I told her I deserved someone who did not see me as a liability, who did not ask me to disappear, who wanted me there, even in my khakis and my warehouse uniform. I told her I would come back for the rest of my things when she was at work, that I did not want to make this harder than it needed to be, that I hoped she had a great night at her gala, that I hoped her career kept going exactly where she wanted it to go. I told her I loved her, past tense, that I loved the person she used to be, the person who met me at a bookstore and did not care that I worked retail, the person who split rent with me and did not think about who made more money, the person who saw me as a partner, not a project to hide. I told her to be happy, and I hit send. Then I left, drove to my buddy's place. He let me crash on his couch, no questions asked. I turned off my phone. I did not want to see her response. Did not want to be talked out of what I knew was right. I turned my phone back on 2 days later. There were 37 missed calls from Sarah. 20 texts. All of them said the same thing in different ways. That she was sorry. That she messed up. That she wanted to talk. That I was overreacting. That we could fix this. But there was nothing to fix. You cannot fix someone being ashamed of who you are. You cannot fix the fundamental incompatibility of one person outgrowing the other. I texted back once. I said I would come get my stuff on Thursday when she was at work. I said, please do not be there. She said, okay, Thursday. I went to the apartment with my buddy. Sarah had packed the rest of my things. Boxes stacked neatly in the living room. Everything labeled. Efficient, even in a breakup. There was an envelope on top of one box. Inside was a letter, handwritten. She said she did not realize how much she had changed, how much she had let her career change her. She said I was right, that she had been ashamed and that was unforgivable. She said she wished she could take it back. She said she understood why I left. She said she was sorry. At the bottom, she wrote that I deserved better, that I always had, that she hoped I found someone who appreciated me exactly as I was. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. I took my boxes and left the keys on the counter. I did not look back. That was 8 months ago. I heard through mutual friends that Sarah is still at the same company, still climbing, still going to galas and networking events and building her empire. I am genuinely happy for her. I hope she finds everything she is looking for. As for me, I am doing okay. I am still at the warehouse, but I am taking classes again, figuring out what I want to do with my life. Dating casually, but nothing serious. Taking my time. Mostly, I am learning that you cannot make someone see your worth if they have decided you do not have any. That sometimes love is not enough when one person is ashamed of the other. That it is better to walk away with your dignity than to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's life. I deserve to be more than someone's secret. More than someone who had to disappear so she could be herself. Everyone does. She asked me to disappear for one evening. I gave her what she needed, just not the way she expected. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and subscribe for more.